Galaxy 125 training. Come over, power on. Computer starts booting up. Takes a second. Couple little things real quick. You'll notice these valves are adjust the pressure beam, adjust the side aligner, and adjust the gripper pressure. The side aligner is the only one that is actively showing the pressure. The grippers and the beam both have to be down in order to see what that pressure is. Okay, the computer opens up straight to wind cut. First things first, you'll come up to F10. You'll notice you have a red X and auxiliary power turned off. Auxiliary power is right here. Now it's gone. Now we'll get new alarms saying we're not calibrated. F11, pusher, F11, saw carriage. Green button, hold it just a little bit. You'll notice the pusher starts going back to calibrate. We have a ruler here, that means it's calibrating. Once it's done, our warnings will disappear, and so will that. Okay, those are both done. Now I'm going to put it in blade change right now just so that I can let that timer happen while we sit here and do some other training. This here is the blade RPM. We don't ever want to mess with that. Keep that fully all the way to 100. Air tables, side aligner, reset button for the inverter. Manual is the hand, square is automatic. This pauses a cut after it's finished, and then opens up so you can clear out trim strips, things like that. And then this is the cycle start button. Now back up to the computer. If we hit F12, brings us to the main menu. This is our normal main menu screen. If we want to change things like our blade thickness and speeds and things like that, we hit this drop down box, go to configuration. You'll notice here on the right hand side we've got trim cut of 50, regular cut of 60. We've got a blade thickness here of 0.166 and a saw blade diameter of 15.78. Here we have blade rising optimization, that stays on. And then that's it for our changeable parameters. Okay, so programming a job, we would come in to F6, but we'd hit this drop down box instead. And come down to cutting. We start here at the computer and we adjust our trims front and back, whether the job is to yield or not. Always leave these checked. Set your book height based off of the thickness of your material and how big the pieces are going to be. If you want it to only stack up like 3 inches on you, so it's easier to move around, just put a 3 there. We like to do length first. Increasing, and then just don't touch the cutting speed. Save it, back out. Next one, materials. 3 things you should change every time. Thickness, length, width. Always leave quantity as -1, always leave the cost at 1, otherwise you will have errors. Save it, back out. Pieces, first thing I do, clear the list. Yes. Let the mouse go. Enter. 20. How if I hit the number lock? 20. 15. I want 10 of those. Save it. Back out. Optimize. Okay, that looks cool, but I've got some extra space there that I want to utilize, but I don't want to go into another sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to hit here, hit enter. Say I want some 5x5 squares for some show pieces. I want 0 required, but 10 as a variable quantity to help fill up that sheet a little bit. I'm going to say I want 5 automatically because I know that'll fit. And I'm going to say I want a variable quantity of 100 so that it'll fill up as many as that can go in there. Save it, back out, optimize. Okay, so now you'll look. That actually put us into a second sheet, which we don't want. But it gave us. So we're gonna go back and fudge with this a little bit. We're gonna say we want a variable quantity of 10. And you can mess with this back and forth till you see what you want to see here. Probably end up with 20 or so. You can see that we end up with a 15 obtained. We're going to leave that as it is. You can mess around with the sizes and get things better. And then obviously if we like the way that looks, we can just click run right here. Leave this as is. Click green check. That looks great. Come down here, push our green button. You'll notice our pusher is going to start to come forward. Oh, it would if we weren't in blade change mode. Let's go check our blade. Open the hatch. Open the hatch. They got a couple trim strips in here. Open both sides. More than a couple of trim strips. Okay, if you want to change the blade, you pop this off, and then you plug it right onto the front here. Give it a little twist, pop off. Make sure your blades go opposite directions. It is also shown right here. But I put little lines on the hub here so you can see I got 2 lines. We start at the left and move to the right. And what that means is we've got a little line right here on our hub. When we put that on, I'm going to hold the blade a little bit. We put that on matching with this first line on the left. Then we turn to the right. So now I'm matched with the line on the right. Pop it off. You'll see that we got a nice snug fit. Now let's put a set of calipers on this and input that in our original configuration earlier in the video. So we're ready to close this and move on to our program starting. So we got our white button back on after that. Everything's good, alarm's gone, green button. Now you'll see the pushers coming up to load. Everything looks good. The computer shows me where to load it, even though I want it on the right hand side. So we're going to abort this. It shows right here that it's on the right, but the diagram is wrong. So we're going to hit F11, abort, okay, okay. Then to find that program again, we're going to hit F3, drop down, run list, cut list, open. Right hand side, I'm going to click the left, then the right again, make sure it's not getting funky on us. Push that green button again now that we're back to our screen. There we go, now it's on the right hand side. So we load on the right hand side our sheets, and we start it. Grippers close, back out. Come forward, reposition, close again, and comes down. Okay, once this is done with this cut, we're going to end it and do a semi-automatic program. I hit my pause button so I could stop after this cut, and you'll notice that it opens up. We're going to abort F11. Cancel. Now we're going to go to semi-automatic, which is F2. First thing you want to do, change your sheet length to where, not how big the panel is, but where you want the blade to start. If you're going to put two panels side by side and they're 20 inches each, then you want to put 40 in there. If you're going to do just one 12-inch piece, just put 12. You can put 13, 14, 15, you can put whatever you want. It's not something that has to be super precise. So I'm going to go with 24. We're going to clear this grid. If I'm looking to trim both sides and make sure we have clear the factory edges off both sides, I'm going to start with an XA. And then I'm going to input the value that I want the first cut to be at. So I'm establishing my own trim. If it's a 96-inch sheet, I'm going to put 95.5. Then I'll end up with a 95.5-inch piece that I can work with to make my other pieces out of. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to say 95.5. So I'm going to come up here and change this to 48 as if we're working a true 48 by 96 piece. Change this to 1. X, enter. XI pops up. I'm going to do 12-inch piece. Want 2 of them. X, enter. 10-inch piece, I want 5. Good, now I'm ready to run this, so I'm going to hit the green check. And now we're back to the same thing. Green button, pusher comes up to load. Now, before I run this, I'm just going to do another program. I'm going to abort this. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to back out so we can reopen it again. F2 brings us to semi-automatic. We're going to clear this grid. We're going to say our piece is 24 inches wide. And we want to just get a couple 12-inch pieces. We don't care if it gets trimmed or not. I'm going to hit XI instead of XA. And then I'm going to put in 12. I'm going to put 2 of them. Now it's just going to cut 2 12-inch pieces without trimming the side that's up against the grippers. So you have to know that it's not going to be a truly accurate piece. That should be, scoring adjustment. We're going to clear this, exit out. So if we drop, which one is it? Oh, duh, it's under the manual mode. F1, saw carriage adjustments. If I want to move my saw carriage front or back, I have to input a displacement. So you can see right there, it gives me my parameters. So if I want to change it from 1,000 to 0.0203, has to be, well, that's metric. It has to be greater than 1,000. So if we do 0.010, that's going to move it the positive direction, 10 thousandths. So I'm going to click save, and yes. There, so now if I want to move it back, I go negative 0.010. Now it's going to be back into the same position. This is to align your scoring blade with your main blade after a blade change. Now, if I want to adjust the height up and down, same thing. The displacement, I'm going to change it forward 0.010. Yes. Save it. Changes. Same thing. Now I'm going to change it back. Save. The other saw is a mechanical adjustment, so I will go over that. Shutdown, confirm exit from WinCut, start, turn off computer, turn off. Once it's off, we can shut it off.